There's plenty of cookie-cutter financial advice out there on becoming debt-free, earn more money, cut up your credit cards, eat out less, make coffee at home. Tips like these are obvious and ultimately not very helpful. Before you take a pair of scissors to those credit cards, explore these 10 realistic strategies on getting out of debt. 1. Debt avalanche. Pay off your highest interest debt first. The debt avalanche method involves paying off your debt with the highest interest rate first, then working your way down from there. For example, you might consider paying off debt in this order: 25% APR store credit card, 22% APR rewards credit card, 5% APR mortgage. With this method, you're paying less in interest charges over time. You'll continue making minimum payments on your other debts, and you'll allocate extra cash toward your priority debt. 2. Debt snowball. Pay off your smallest balance first. Tackle your debt in baby steps using the debt snowball method. You'll target your debt with the lowest balance first, while making the minimum payment on your other debts. Once your low balance debt is repaid, you'll move on to the next lowest debt. When you've finished repaying the first debt, take the amount you were previously paying each month and begin applying it to your next smallest debt. The amount of money you're putting toward debt each month won't change, but you'll begin paying the debts off with increasing speed. This repayment method helps you cut down the number of debts you owe and gives you small wins to keep you motivated on your repayment journey. E. Build a budget to pay off debt. It's easy to lose control of debt when you're not tracking your spending. Budgeting is a big part of staying out of debt, but it can also help you pay off debt faster. Creating a budget gives you a clear idea of how you spend and save your money. Particularly if you have excess credit card debt, budgeting can give you valuable insight into where your income goes each month. Use a budgeting spreadsheet like the one below to track your spending for a month and see where you can allocate more income toward repaying debt. In addition to a manual budgeting spreadsheet, you can also incorporate one of these budgeting strategies. 50-30-20 budget. Split your income into 3 categories. 50% goes toward needs, 30% goes toward wants, and 20% goes toward savings and debt repayment. Zero-based budget. At the end of the month, your income minus your expenses should equal 0. This helps you account for every dollar earned, including debt repayment and savings. Envelope budget. Categorize your spending into virtual envelopes, such as food, utilities, and housing. Allocate your budget at the beginning of the month to cut down on superfluous spending. Minimalist lifestyle. Cut regular but unnecessary expenses such as dining out or gratuitous shopping trips to maximize savings. Dedicate any remaining income to debt repayment. Tip: utilize an online debt payoff calculator to determine how much you should allocate toward your debt in order to pay it off within a certain time frame. This gives you a clearer image of how much you'll pay every month and how much you'll pay in interest in the long run. 4. Dedicate unexpected windfalls to your debt. When you receive an unanticipated sum of money, it's easy to imagine fun ways to spend it. Take a vacation or buy that latest smartphone model you've been wanting. But if you're in a lot of debt, it may be wiser to use your windfall to pay down debt. Don't think of a monetary windfall as extra money that you can use for discretionary purposes. Use an inheritance, tax refund, or work bonus to cut down on your debt and save yourself money on interest in the long run. Money typically doesn't just fall into people's laps, so if you're anxious to pay off your debts quickly, here are a few ways to earn some extra income. 5. Meet with a credit counselor to form a repayment plan. Nonprofit credit counseling organizations offer low-cost or free debt counseling. A certified credit counselor will offer money and debt advice, help you create a budget, give you educational materials on money management. Debt management plans come at a cost, typically a monthly fee. 6. Negotiate debt settlement with your creditors. When unsecured debt becomes too much to handle and you're delinquent on payments, you may consider negotiating debt settlement with your creditors or a debt collector. Your creditor, like your credit card company, may agree to set you up on a payment plan, reduce your monthly payments, or settle your debt for less than what's owed. Follow these tips for settling your debt. Take notes. Get it in writing. Be honest. Check the statute of limitations. It's worth noting, however, that debt settlement can negatively impact your credit score. Be sure you understand the implications before making a final decision. 7. Consolidate debt with a personal loan. A debt consolidation loan can help you repay your debts at a lower interest rate, saving you money over time. This repayment method also allows you to combine multiple debts into one, allowing you to make just one monthly payment instead of multiple payments. When shopping for a personal loan, you'll want to find a lender that is willing to give you a lower APR than what you're currently paying. Similarly, you can also consolidate debt by moving it to a balance transfer credit card. 8. Transfer debt to a 0% intro credit card. Another way to consolidate debt is to use a balance transfer credit card. Ideally, you'll want to find a 0% intro credit card so you can avoid paying interest for the first several months. This way, any payments you make on the card will go directly toward reducing the principal. Keep in mind, however, you'll typically have to pay a fee when utilizing a balance transfer credit card, and once the 0% intro period is over, you'll have to start paying interest on the remaining balance. Credit cards and personal loans are both popular ways of consolidating debt. However, these debt repayment options may be out of reach for consumers with subprime credit. 9. Use a cash-out refinance to put money toward debt. If you own a house, you may be able to use cash-out refinance to pay off debt. In short, if you have been paying your mortgage, you've most likely built equity into your home. A cash-out refinance allows you to borrow against that equity and use the money to do a variety of things, including pay off debt. Since you'll typically only be able to utilize 80% of your home's value, you'll probably only be able to borrow up to $150,000 of your home's $250,000 equity value. Keep in mind that if you go this route, you are using your home as collateral for the debt, meaning you risk losing your home if you default. 10. Consider bankruptcy as a last resort. Should you find yourself overwhelmed by your finances, you may be able to discharge your debts by filing for bankruptcy. While this can be a relief for some borrowers, keep in mind that bankruptcy can remain on your credit profile for years and may make it difficult for you to take out credit or a loan afterward. Aside from that, bankruptcy proceedings can take several months or years before your debt is discharged, and some debts are not dischargeable. Which debt should you pay off first? It's important to take stock of what you owe because some types of debt will open new doors for your debt repayment strategy. For example, you may be able to negotiate medical debt. With mortgage and auto debt, you could consider refinancing. Once you're debt-free, how to stay out of debt. Becoming debt-free is a difficult task, so it's important to build better habits going forward so you don't find yourself in the same situation again. Stay out of debt by monitoring your budget, building your savings, and working on increasing your income. Here's how. Build your emergency fund. It's important that you don't sacrifice your emergency fund or pay off debt. You should always be saving at least some money in an emergency fund. That way, when you're hit with a big, unexpected expense, you don't need to resort to taking out debt again. Find a way to increase your income. Paying off debt on a low income is difficult, but staying out of debt when you don't have a lot of extra cash is even harder. Ask for a raise. Research the average income for your position online and use that as leverage. Be prepared to advocate for yourself and your accomplishments in your role. Take a certification course. Start a side gig. Sell unused items. Utilize a budgeting app. Creating a budget can be hard work, but it's worth the effort when you're paying off debt. Even when you've repaid all your debt, it's important to keep budgeting so you don't slip into old habits. Monitor and build your credit score. The credit score system isn't perfect, but it's one measure of your overall financial wellness. Plus, lenders and other financial institutions rely on your credit score to determine if you're a good candidate for a loan or credit card.